So, if you guys already heard the previous rant, I usually don't do this. Usually, if I do a rant that is like an hour long or something, or an hour and a couple minutes or whatever long, it's one long stretched out rant. It's usually not like I do one part and then it's second part. Usually, if it's 2 parts or 3 parts, it's because I ranted and then I edited it for it to be separate parts. But I pretty much, this is the second part to the the dog rant, when the dog actually claps back rant. And so these are some points that I didn't really touch on, but I'm going to touch on them now. And I have touched on these points in previous rants, but these are rants that are like older, spread out throughout the channel, but a certain concept, but put it in a different format and maybe a different focal point, or if it's a being I'm even talking on, like a cryptid or something, it'll be a kind of different focal point. So, with that being said, I wanted to hit a couple points, and the points I wanted to hit on are, and I've spoken about this before, how people are so quick to literally open their mouths only to stick their fucking foot right in their mouth. It's just so, it's so arrogant. It just annoys the hell out of me. It's like this thing where it's like people are so quick to take a stance, have a dogma, and it's bullshit. And it's this thing that they take on only to so quickly put their foot in their mouth. It's like, you open your mouth, put your foot right in. I just see it so often. It's almost like this modern society, in this culture, in this common knowledge culture, is designed to put you in positions to where that's exactly what's going to happen to you. And it's not a new concept. It's like they want people to be dumb enough to be controlled. They don't want people to be free thinkers. They don't want people to be individuals, because they want you to be at the mercy of something all the time. And they want you to be at the mercy of something, and they realize that if they can get you to think a certain type of way, then you will more likely fall victim to being put at the mercy of whatever, because it's already ingrained into your subconscious, into your way of thinking, into your dogma, into your lifestyle, even into your very lifestyle. And I'm going to talk about that too. And what I'm going to just say it, just get out the way now. So in your lifestyle, I mean like the lifestyle of like laziness, lethargicness, right? They don't want you to have a combat mentality, to be like, okay, well, you understand that you could do certain things and exercise a certain way and train a certain way, to that it gives you a more potent, more capable, competent ability as a person when you need to do things that maybe cause you to have to take action. You know what I mean? Like physically, to defend yourself. They don't want you to have that type of mentality anymore. They want you not to be, they say it's toxic. It's masculinely toxic. It's toxic. It's this, it's that, it's whatever. You're going to demonize people who are vigilant, demonize people who have some sense in their head, who are not going to sit around and be helpless or put themselves in positions that they are always being taken advantage of. That's what I mean. Like, it's like, come on, if you can't see what's actually going on, then, but that's actually is part of it. But I mean, one of the more I'm going to speak on the aspect of like how, always putting their foot in their mouth. People always putting their foot in their mouth. It's kind of like this. Think of it like this. I've spoken about this before, about how, like I said, we have all this, like, so you got to understand, as a man, as a physical being, as a human, as a man or a woman or whatever, you have a spirit man. Like the Christians always like to talk about. They always like to use that word. The Christians love using that example of, your spirit man. You have a desire for things that are magical. You have a desire for things of the unknown. You have a longing to connect with things that are outside of yourself. You have a longing for that because you are a spirit being. No matter how educated you may think you are, no matter how bougie, no matter how learned you think you are, there is a spirit part of you that will always long to connect to other spirit beings because everything comes from a certain source and we're all connected. But a part of you, there's almost like a disconnect. Like there's a struggle, there's a fight, there's like a wrestling, like a pushing against that. And there is traumas that we have to where, like, we don't necessarily would want to dare to expose ourselves to darkness, if you will. There's light, but there's also darkness. But the thing is, as a person, there is a wholeness that someone can find when both is connected. So you can't have one without the other. But there's like I said, there's a wrestle, there's a battle, a denial to try to, lean too much to one side or the other. And that's always the thing with people, but I always said, like, this like part of this whole cryptid experience is like, paranormal in cryptozoology is when people actually encounter something, like I said, that is magical. Like you saw these, let's just be real, bro. You see all these gay ass Disney movies, all this twinkle toes shit that they got going on in these movies, and people think, oh, it's magical. People love to just throw that word out there like it's a buzzword almost. So it's magical. You know what I mean? Oh, you want magic, huh? Okay. Well, then when you actually run into something magical, this is what I mean. You shit your goddamn pants. When magical shit starts actually happening, poltergeist, just when a quote, magical things actually start happening in your life or around you, you panic. All of a sudden now you're panicking now. But I thought you wanted some shit to be magical, huh? I thought things were supposed to be majestic. You want all this sparkly shit that you see. Literally, you want, but then when it actually comes at your door, because you claim, this is my thing. Open your mouth, like I said, open your fucking mouth and put your foot in it. Because you always say you want something. You create like movies, all plays, all this shit, like to try to emulate something. But then when that actual real shit comes to you, then you panic. Then you fucking panic. What can you say about that? You have to answer for that, right? Do you have an answer for that? Do you have anything to say? Do you have an answer? It's bull. You're full of shit. You need to check yourself. This is what I mean. You need to seriously check your fucking self. Because I don't want to hear you talking about you were in your backyard and you're like, oh man, you're like, this thing had a big round ass head. I could see the dog ears. Its arms were hanging down to its knees. It was probably a juvenile, but it was just staring at me. You're like, the thing, it was just staring at you, just looking at you. And then you have this fear story. You have this trauma story. I've seen it all before. I've heard it all before. Even people that are actually hard come out with the dumb. I'm thinking like, bro, but you'll be the same one that you see, like I said, you see some twinkly, sparkly shit in some movie, and you're all like, oh, I wouldn't be so, because that's what I mean. Because Hollywood is full of shit. That's why. Because Hollywood is making up fantasies, gay ass fantasies that it's easy for people to grasp onto and feel like it's this romanticized little warm and fuzzy feeling in your stomach when you were a fucking kid or whatever, when you had no responsibilities type of emotions. Girls obsessed with Twilight and shit like that with a literal little sparkling fucking man and all this shit. But see, all that shit is Hollywood. That's my point. It's all fake. It's all bullshit. It's all man's imagination. That's not how shit really is. That's not the real shit. Like I said, when the real shit is actually real and the magic is actually there, then everyone wants to panic. It's a panic show. Everybody's fearful. It's panic now. This is what I mean, you guys. This is what I mean about opening your mouth and inserting the foot right in your fucking mouth. It's retarded. It's fucking pitiful, actually, to watch. You know? And then, like, I'll talk about this, is how I'm like, you got people saying things like, oh, the dog is lowly. The dog is pretty much it's not even a pest. It's beneath a pest. It's one of the most like, man, just stop already. Like, you need to look in the mirror for a second before you start talking all that type of shit. You know, it's kind of dumb to be judgmental when you have so much weight upon you that warrants judgment. It's arrogant for you to even think that you can, like, it's like, come on, man. Because you got a lot of judgment coming your own way. You need to shut up and stop for a second. But what I was going to really say was, this thing about people saying things like that and using that type of language, but then you don't understand, like, you're the same people that fought for animal rights. You're the same people that pump more affection into these dogs. See, like I said, you have to realize that energy is energy, and that energy is going somewhere, and you're putting that energy somewhere, and it is sticking to things, and that memory is never going to be erased. It is stuck there. Do you know how much energy, how much goddamn time, how much of your hard-earned dollars even, because you're buying all this bullshit, canned food, dry food, wet food, scraps from the table, Alpo, that could be going to someone else, you're putting it into these dogs, and guess what? That energy is going somewhere, you guys. That energy is ingrained into those dogs. That energy, those memories are never leaving. They're not. They're literally in the, what do they call it? The I forget the name. What's it called? The Akashic Records or something. That it's not going anywhere. So you have to understand that, like, you put this dog. This dog has already been put on a pedestal. Like in some countries where they worship certain animals, this thing's already on a pedestal. I'm not saying it should be dethroned, but what I'm saying is you put it up there. We put it up there. So, you made your bed. Then fucking light it. You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't on one side say, oh, you know, oh, we love these dogs. Oh, my hunting dog. When your dog dies, oh, like, don't get me wrong, I love dogs too, you guys. You know, I love dogs too. You know, I understand they can be dangerous, so I'm cautious. Like, I know they can be just like anything, but I love them just as much, you guys. But the thing is this, the people I'm bashing on is the people trying to make a bad name for a simple fucking animal, just like your damn self, a simple fucking animal, that just is what it is. Like, why are you guys demonizing these dogs? Like, it's one thing that you are demonizing the dog man that is way more intelligent than a dog, but you're also demonizing dogs. It's like, god damn, you guys. Like, it's one thing if you guys are starving out here and you're in a certain country and places to where you guys are literally having to eat these dogs, you guys are caging these dogs, processing these dogs, and you guys need to make meals out of these dogs because your ass is starving. And I'm not even knocking you. If you need to survive, you gotta eat what you gotta eat. I'm not knocking you, but what I'm saying is, to demonize an animal, like, you're telling me you're trying to talk shit about a certain animal? You're trying to say that this animal is lowly in this stuff. If people are doing these things, certain things with these, which they shouldn't be doing, but some of you people out here, you're doing things with these dogs. I'm calling you out too. It's like, I'm not saying that I, like, hate you, but I'm calling you out because I know what some of you motherfuckers are doing out here. But what I'm saying is, you don't hate this. Don't hate the dog. Judge the person. I'm not even saying hate the person, but I'm saying don't judge. The dogs have nothing to do with this, you guys. That shit pissed me off when I heard this guy rant on how I'm like, what are you fucking what are you talking about? If you're gonna talk about dogs, then you might as well talk about every other animal. Because last time I checked, your dog has fleas. So where are the fleas? The fleas are, I would say, more of a pest than the dog. You ever had crabs? I never had crabs, but I know people that have had crabs. What do you got to say about that? What are you going to blame? Are you going to blame the person, or are you going to blame the crabs? Which ones? Come on, you guys. This is what I mean. Open your mouth and insert your goddamn foot. Every time, it gets you every. It's actually cynically and sadistically satisfying to see this shit happen to people. Just be honest. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, you guys. It's actually hilarious. It makes me think of this story of when this guy said, I forgot this guy's name. I can't remember, but this story about this man who had a dog man encounter. Get this, right? This dog man put him in a tent, took the tent like it was a bag, and rattled his ass, and rattled him around. And get this, right? He claims that this dog man was sinisterly laughing the whole time, was making the most sinister, most diabolical laughs and yips and everything while he was, because it's hilarious. I can relate. It's funny. You have to be cynical at some point. It's to where, like I said, when you put yourself in a situation, sometimes you could only laugh at a person. When a dumb person puts themselves in certain situations, it's just see, this guy lived to tell this. It should tell you something. He lived to tell the story. He didn't have to live to tell the story. If he wanted to have been gone, he would have been gone. See, you people have to understand. Like I said, it's always open mouth, insert foot. This is part 2, basically, to the rant. This is part 2, you guys. But I had to rant on it because, I've spoke about this before, about how, we live in a terrible world where you are preyed upon. We are all preyed upon, literally in some type of way, especially with what do you call it? What do you call these? The corporations, scams. People try to gather information. People are always trying to give you fake information, trying to steal your identity, trying to get your money, trying to sell you something. It's all over the place, you guys. If you haven't noticed. Knowing this, you would think that part of your spirit man, especially you Christians, you would think that spirit man would be aware enough, would be discerning enough to realize where it should be going, to realize where it should be concentrating itself, should realize some things, realize what it's actually surrounded by, and realize what's going on. Because it doesn't take, you don't need to be a fucking shaman or a fucking druid in the woods or some bullshit to be able to read sometimes the intent that is around you, to realize, the evil that actually is around you. To realize that, like I said, you are a mark, you are a prey item, you are a thing to corporations, people, places, and things around you. You realize the world that you are in. You realize the evil in this world. So like I said, when the magic is actually there, you're gonna have to do with it what you're gonna do with it. And hopefully you're in a good spot. Hopefully you're in a good headspace and a place to where you don't fuck it up. But I feel, like I said, none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. But the thing is, we all, those who are like myself, who know we see how we fuck it up. We see how this is how it gets fucked up. And like I said, we demonize things that we should not be demonizing. You need to look in the mirror. You need to take accountability. But instead you go that other route. The most arrogant and retarded and annoying, disgusting fucking route where you just, like I said, where you're just walking around putting your foot in your mouth all the time. You know? And that shit is not, we very much judge that on this channel harshly. We give no fucks on this channel. That's the culture of this channel. It's like we're harshly judging that type of behavior. We're not tolerating it. We're not promoting it. I'm not promoting that on this channel. You're gonna get judged on this channel when you come with that type of shit. So this rant, this is episode 2. This is episode 2, you guys. I'm not doing an episode 3 on this. At least not now. At least not in this type of subject. And I'm gonna say this before I close. Are some of you weird people out here doing things with fucking dogs? I know some of you guys are. Some of you people are doing things, but you shouldn't really be should not probably be doing these things under these circumstances. What are you actually doing? You know, that's what I will give to some of these people who made some of these videos. Like the video where they demonize the lady, I will give it to them that they are probably correct, because I don't feel like this dog, and like I said, dogs inherently, you know, like, are some weird dogs out there that are just weird? Probably. But did this woman probably try to get something out of this dog in forced behaviors, in coax this dog somehow? I think so. I think she preyed upon this dog. That's what I think actually happened. But the thing is, what I didn't agree with was how the person tried to demonize dogs as a species in themselves. That's where the line has to be drawn. You know, because inherently, there's actually, and if you got to really be honest to know this, there's nothing more inherently lowly, evil, or based about a dog than there is in a person. It's exactly the same. There's no negative nor plus that you can compare a person to a dog, even a cat, even, like, and you know, cats are more of like, what's the word? Cats are like temperamental little fucking creatures. So it's like you have to, but like I said, same thing with people. You can't, if you compare both, there's nothing more inherently on either side in the positive or the negative. So I call bullshit, because facts are facts. Bullshit has to be called on that one. You know, this is nonsense, you guys. Like, when people come, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's the intelligence factor that separates us so much. That's the main things that separates a propensity to a behavior. And this sounds dumb. Like, it's like, why are we arguing this? I'm arguing this because people are dumb enough to argue differently. So I'm gonna have to argue it. And it's annoying as fuck. So there you go, you guys. This is part 2. Like, comment, and sub. This is Steve's Art and Fun. And until next time, have a good one.